Hello, everyone, and welcome to the post-show Bachelorette live chat, where we're going to be talking about part one of the finale. And oh boy, wow, what a part one, what a heartbreaking entry into the final two. I guess final two, kind of final three, right now with the return of Ben. How's everyone doing tonight? After this first of two episodes with the tragic exit of Brendan and the return of Ben. And Emma, already with the super chat, thank you so much for supporting the stream. And before we get into the discussion, of course, as always, we're going to be talking about the chat rules. Number one, please, sleuthing spoilers only. I mean, we only have one episode left, but still, or like, even Matt James spoilers, please, no posting any of that, unless it's been sleuthed out. And we're already seeing some super chats. There's going to be a lot of questions. Super chats will get priority, and last but not least, be kind to each other. That's all I ask. Kindness in the chat. All right. Asiya, thank you so much for the super chat. Going to start off right away with what did you think about Ben's arrival? I'm not surprised. And not just because we had a ton of information to go off of, which proved he was going to return based on the previews. But this season, it seems to be something that's totally allowed, totally encouraged, men coming back. Maybe it's because they are there at La Quinta and they're staying at that one location. It's easier to do. But Bennett returned. Ben returned. Seems to be A-okay. Chris Harrison left and returned. So, and Ivan was done dirty with that trailer date. I know. He got the tiny, minuscule trailer while Zach got the naked body paint and king size bed. But I'm not surprised Ben was allowed to return. And I talked about it a bit in my preview breakdown. The producers, regardless, I think if it was Ben's idea or the producer's idea or whatever, good for TV. With Brendan leaving and them having an automatic final two of Zach and Ivan, causes a little drama for the end of the episode. So I think it was an easy decision to allow him to come back. I don't know if that's ever happened before where someone has wanted to come back and the producers have said no. But in this case, it makes sense to me. And Sarah, thank you as well for the super chat. Thoughts on this new Ben revelation? Do you think he has a shot of winning her finally over in the end? No, I don't think so. I think Zach has this wrapped up. I think regardless of what happens next episode, if we're talking Tayshia says, okay, Ben, you can return, and Ivan's going, or Ivan stays and Ben goes, I think Zach has it wrapped up. I think we saw in this episode enough evidence to kind of showcase that with Zach and Tayshia. The way Tayshia talked about Zach versus Ivan, in my opinion, much stronger. The way she talked about love with Zach versus love with Ivan, like I think she was much more sure and serious and happy with Zach, and with Ivan it was that typical, I'm falling in love with you, is a little more reserved. I think she's chosen Zach already at this point, regardless of the other guys. So even if Ben comes back, takes over for Ivan, or Ivan stays, I think it's Zach no matter what. That's my opinion. And let me see if I missed any. Yes, no, it was John. Thank you for the super chat. Zach just seems like the final pick to me, especially since they said I love you too. Exactly. Same point that I just made. Yeah. And again, I think that I love you, I love you between Zach and Tayshia and the one that was sort of with Ivan, very different. To me, that speaks volumes. And we can talk again about the same sort of thing I talked about in my last preview breakdown, how Tayshia views these guys, how she views her relationships and the end of this journey. And I think that for her, the best choice and the choice she wants to make is the safe one. And there's a key difference between that being the best choice and the one she wants to make, because sometimes people want to make the safe choice, but it's not the right one. I mean, you can probably talk to Ari and Lauren, and he'd say he made the safe choice, what he thought was the safe choice, with picking Becca, and then that was not actually what he wanted. But I think potentially for Tayshia, the safe choice with Zach could be the right choice in comparison to the other two guys. It's my opinion, though. I'm basing that off of a few interviews, the way some contestants have talked about Tayshia, the way Tayshia's talked herself. That's what I'm basing it off of. And Giselle, thank you for the super chat. Shook Tay felt it was Brendan she was gonna... Should Tay felt it was Brendan she was gonna get engaged to? Not entirely sure about the sentence, but I'm guessing it's something along the lines of should Tayshia have felt that it was Brendan she was going to get engaged to? Did Tayshia feel like she was going to get engaged to Brendan? Don't know about that. Or just shook that Tayshia... I don't know. Either way, that whole... You've used the ring emoji thing. That whole date with Brendan, the engagement stuff, a little bit much for me. After Ivan's date, in the ice challenge kissing, and then the body paint with Zach getting, close together, and then the Neil Lane thing after Brendan already had talked about being anxious. A little rich for me. But maybe, we can talk about the producers being involved in that. But you could also think Tayshia could have been a part of it because you kind of know where Brendan stands on that date. Obviously she knew what was going on with that date. She's not, Tayshia's not a stupid person. She knows what's up. So she could have said no to that date if she knew it was something Brendan was going to be anxious about. But maybe there was a part of her that was wondering, I'll get the reaction that I need from Brendan on that date. Because if Brendan shows up to that date and he's super excited, super interested, super happy to be a part of it, and Tayshia sees that, hey, this guy is ready for marriage. He's actually thinking about getting engaged to me. If she sees him anxious and upset, she might know her answer about if he's ready to pop the question at the end of this. But I don't know. I'm not Tayshia. I'm not in her mind. And Cassandra, thank you for the super chat. Are the purple pants and black socks / shoes coming out of the limo in the preview Brendan? Couldn't tell you that. Couldn't tell you that at this moment. There won't be a preview breakdown for this next episode, obviously. I would be shocked if Brendan came back at all. I don't think it's Brendan. It would be one of the three guys: Ben, Zach, Ivan. But I don't know. Unless, I mean, we really didn't get enough time to break down the preview, so I wouldn't know if there's any proof of that, but I really doubt it. Really, really doubt it. And Giselle, sorry. I mean, Shook isn't surprised that Tayshia said, oh, thank you for the super chat for clearing up what you said before. I meant Shook as in surprised that Tayshia said she felt this whole time she was going to marry Brendan, because I definitely was surprised. Yes, okay. Excellent. We can clarify this. Yeah, I was not surprised this episode, because the last preview proved that Tayshia was sending Brendan home. But if anything, I think maybe this was the best thing possible for Tayshia in the long run, because in my opinion, the only guy that could have won over Zach was Brendan. And as I talked about before in live chats and in videos, the guy, like, Brendan was the more passion choice, the less safe choice, but Zach was the safe choice and the more steady choice. And it very often in the show comes down to those two things. In seasons past, that's the way it's been. So I think it made it easier for her, because now she has a clear path. And Zach might have been the right choice all along anyways. So don't sometimes we tend to view the passion choice as the one that was actually right, and the safe choice is the one that you're only making because it's safe. And Rita, thank you so much for the super chat. Didn't miss yours there. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for the support. I will be devastated if Ivan gets his heart broken. I feel like he will. I feel like he will in the original preview with Claire. He looks like he was crying and saying, "Don't do this to me." Have you seen this? Yes. I have seen that part. A few people have mentioned it here and there. It's never quite made it into a preview breakdown because I don't know. I guess it just hasn't. But I have seen that. I feel like everything just adds up to this picture of Zach being the winner, Ivan not being the winner, Ben not being the winner. So all the small details, all the big details like that, all of the storyline of the season, the way Tayshia's interacted with each of the guys in comparison to others, it all just seems to add up to the same thing. Zach is going to be the choice. Does that mean it's a lock? No. But I'm finding it hard to see anyone else winning at this point. So, why was Zach crying in the preview? A million reasons. Never trust a preview 100%. Never trust a preview 100%. We have seen, for example, with Zach, I talked about this in a past preview breakdown. There was a spot where Zach was crying, and he was tearing up, and he said, "I can't do this. I can't do this," or something like that, or this is like super, like, I don't know. He used language like that, and what actually ended up happening was Zach was just tearing up. The footage was just Zach expressing how emotional it was going into hometowns with Tayshia eventually meeting his family and how serious that was for him. So sometimes they can take footage like that, which is very innocent, and use it in a preview to elicit the most amount of drama or excitement or whatever. Because really, in the preview, all they're trying to accomplish is getting you to watch the next episode. And in a week's time, usually you forget what happens. That's what they expect. You forget the details of the preview. But, now people like me, they break down the previews. So Amanda, as well, thank you for the super chat. Who should I pick for my Batch Fantasy League? Zach is my pick. Zach's my pick. And Gracie, Ivan for next Bachelor after Matt. Everyone loves him. Ivan for Bachelor in Paradise. Ivan, Brendan, Ben, could all see them in Bachelor in Paradise. Zach, I guess, possibly too, but come on. And the big thing to know here is that we have a huge amount of time between now and the next season, right? Huge amount of time. So there's going to be a whole other series of guys that are going to be showing up in May or whenever they start the next Bachelorette season. And there's going to be a whole nother storyline, a whole nother, section of guys to root for. And maybe we won't remember Ivan by then. Just speaking from experience with this show. So if Ivan is going to get the job, he's going to get it through Bachelor in Paradise. That's the way that Ivan gets the Bachelor job. So it's hard to see any guy, no matter how great they are from the season, getting the Bachelor job, unfortunately, in my opinion. But it's still possible. We've seen seasons where men have not been great and then or not wanted to do the job, and then they've had to bring someone in from a past season. And we've seen bachelors come out of Paradise more than once. Colton and Nick. And Caitlin, thank you for the super chat. Maybe Tayshia's dad is talking about Ben. Maybe. We're going to have to tune in all the way to tomorrow. All the way tomorrow. Yeah, someone saying the only footage of Ivan in that preview was him in clothes from the rose ceremony. I'm afraid she keeps Ben and sends him home. Sleuthing it out. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't pay. It's hard to say anything solidly after a first 1 minute viewing of a preview. At the end of the day, though, I still think no matter what happens, Zach's the choice. So, and I have a really, really hard time seeing Tayshia at the end of this, after sending Ben home, picking him in the end, She sent him home, and, it's not, I don't think Tayshia was thinking, gosh, he didn't say I love you, I super love him. If he said I love you back, I would pick him in the end. I don't see that being something that she would do, right? So I think Ben, no matter what, not a choice. So, will there be an after the final rose? That's a really good question. I have no clue. I mean, they had a men tell-all. They would have to have organized it. It would be tough. I mean, they had a men tell-all, but they probably would have been filming The Bachelor by then, too. So, we'll see. Maybe they can do one over Zoom or something. I don't know. And Gracie, again, thank you for the super chat. Wouldn't be surprised if she keeps Ben, but looked like Ivan's hand holding a ring in the preview didn't look like a white guy. There you go. There's some sleuthing for you. Have they released the preview yet? Sometimes on the YouTube channels, they release like the official ones yet to like review the latest preview. It doesn't look like it yet. They've got one of them has up the video of Brendan saying goodbye. They've got a video of each of the fantasy suite dates, but no preview yet. So, and the Ben footage in the preview has to be a fake out. Very possible. If there was ever a preview where they wanted to make it look like Ben was staying, this would be it, right before this next episode. So, Survivor didn't have a finale show because of COVID, so it might unfortunately be the same for Bachelorette. I know the different shows, but just saying, yeah, I mean, that's very possible. I think maybe like they could do a Zoom thing, but maybe they're deciding that's not their bag because of the quality won't be the same. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm sure no matter what, we'll get tons of updates on who's still together, how they're doing, all that jazz. Either outside of the show or on it. So, could she have all three meet her dad? Yeah, possible. It's possible. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to expect sometimes, different outcomes. Like with Hannah Brown's season, she brought 4 guys to the fantasy suites. So, it's possible. I kind of doubt it, personally. I think she'll choose 2 guys to go into the end, and that'll be that. So, yeah, they did the Zoom GOAT seasons. That's true. We'll see. Maybe they, I mean, they're going to have to fit it in pretty quickly, but they've done that before. We've got a final 3, I guess. Ben, Ivan, Zach, rose ceremony or whatever to go through, and then a final 2. And they've got dates as well. Usually. So that's a rose ceremony, 2 dates, and a final rose ceremony. Do you think they can fit that in? We'll see. Do you think that Tayshia won't be engaged? I don't know. I guess so. I think so, but we'll see. Because, I mean, does Tayshia seem like really invested in an engagement? I feel like if she wasn't, she'd have expressed that to the other guys. And, the other men wouldn't be talking about engagement so much. It seems to me like a lot of men behind the scenes, like when they've come out talking about engagement, I know Noah has talked about this, that they were all, this is something we're talking about. This is something we're interested in. And Noah said that Brendan was the guy who was least excited. He seemed least excited about that. Maybe I'm reading into this, but if Tayshia made it clear that this was a big possibility, would these guys be talking about this so much? Or is that something maybe the producers are getting out of them? So wasn't Ivan crying on the couch and saying, "Please don't do this to me" in the preview for Claire's season? Yeah, I believe it was. But there was a lot of footage from that preview that was actually from Tayshia's season. There was a ton of it. We have the footage of Zach and Tayshia's date where they were at the wedding photo shoot. And they had sort of sunlight lens flare thing going on that covered Tayshia's face. There was the footage of Zach and Tayshia again on the Ferris wheel where they were in the shadows. That was another piece of footage. We had Ed holding Carlos the baby, the fake baby from the Grown-Ass Man date. That was in the original, that was in some sort of Claire season preview. We had Ben saying, "I'm falling in love with you." He didn't say that to Claire. He said that to Tayshia. So there was a lot of stuff where they pulled footage to make a more well-rounded preview, because there was really only 3 or 4 episodes of Claire. So there was a lot of footage that they pulled. And Rochelle, thank you so much for the super chat. I'm so interested to see how Matt handles being the Bachelor, having no Bachelor experience. It's been a long time since we had a completely fresh face. Yeah, a really long time. From outside, technically outside of the franchise. I mean, Matt James, best friends with Tyler Cameron from Hannah Brown's season. And that was a big draw for naming him the Bachelor, I'm sure. Why they were so willing to name him when they did, of all people. He was probably heavily vetted already for the job and cast to be a potential future lead. And then when they were getting a lot of pressure to name someone, the first Bachelor who wasn't white, I guess, other than Juan Pablo, who was the first Latin Bachelor, it was easy when you're friends with Tyler Cameron and you already have a huge following. So. And Emma, thank you so much for the super chat. Hey, I missed the beginning of the chat. Do you think Tayshia will keep Ben? How does that work logistically? The preview is so confusing. So at the end of the day, I don't know 100% if there's something solid in the preview after just one look from the preview. But I think more than likely it doesn't matter because she's going to pick Zach in the end. It would be kind of shitty to say, okay, Ben, I'm going to keep you. I don't know. In my opinion, it would be kind of shitty to say, all right, Ben, you're staying for the final 2, and Ivan, you're going. I have a hard time thinking Tayshia's just going to do that. Right? It's, I don't know, kind of a bad look. So. Did Chris just curse? Yes, it happens. YouTube be damned. So, I don't know. And tell me if I'm wrong here, but Tayshia is someone who seems very conscious of her image. I don't mean that in like she's an uber fake person. I think she's smart. And it just seems like a really bad look. And if you're already there with Ivan, it would take a huge amount of feelings for Ben to overcome that. Like, she would have to really see Ben as a possible winner. And I don't know, it's just hard for me to think that she's gonna pick Ben and dump Ivan. But we'll see. And Gracie, again, thank you for the super chat. I think she keeps all three. Thoughts? I would say, to me, that would feel more likely, in my personal opinion, than her swapping Ben and Ivan. So she could keep all three. It's possible. But I don't know. I think it's you know, we can speculate about this. I still think no matter what she does, Zach is the clear front runner. So I have a hard time, regardless of what happens, seeing anything but Zach and Tayshia in the end. That's my opinion, though. I don't have this time some preview footage to prove that without a shadow of a doubt. So we'll see. We'll see tomorrow. It's totally possible. We've seen more shocking things in the past on this show. But I don't know. It's harder for me to see. We could review, like, for all I know, after intense review of this preview, which we unfortunately won't get to because it's just, happening tomorrow. There might be something that proves it, but hard to see right now. And after just like a quick flash, unknowable. And Emma, again, thank you for the super chat. So many people think Zach is shady and has red flags. I don't see it besides the Matthew McConaughey reference. Yes, Zach, someone told him that he kind of looked like Matthew McConaughey once, and he came out with that, all right. I don't know. Unless there's been something outside of the show, unless some tea has come out about Zach, I don't see anything that is major red flag from him. I think I know people have said that before. I've seen people comment it. I think it's just it's a feeling thing, right? Because he is very, like what they said on his, like they said on his hometown, he's not super smiley all the time. He's a little bit lower energy, maybe. So, no, he does not look like Matthew McConaughey. No, he doesn't. But it's like, it's one of those things where like there's a passing resemblance if you get the right picture lined up together and you kind of look at it from far away. And he has that kind of like low Matthew McConaughey energy. I think that's what people are talking about. So So he definitely at least someone's told him that before. Same way someone told Chasen he looked like Wolverine once. Like, Chasen does not actually look like Wolverine. But again, it's that same sort of instance of if you line up a picture side by side, I guess, and, look at it from far away, I guess maybe Chasen kind of looks like Hugh Jackman, but not really. The same sort of thing with Zach and Matthew McConaughey. Do you think Zach still doesn't really want that many kids? I don't know. I think it's definitely possible for you to not want kids and then to come to a point where you do want kids. So I know he had said that in the past, and it's kind of like, well, what changed now? Maybe it's Tayshia. And I'll admit, I'm going to give it the positive outlook right now, the really positive outlook. But it's very possible that Zach has come into this point in his life where he is seeing a life with someone, and now he's going, okay, I didn't want kids before, because before, I had a much, worse past. But now things are good, and now I'm with someone, and the idea is not as bad. But that's the positive spin on it. Obviously, if he didn't want kids the whole time, and he was just saying that to appease Tayshia, that would be really, really bad, really shitty. And we would eventually find out because the two would break up. That's not something that leads to a healthy, happy marriage. So it's also a pretty just stupid thing to do. Enter an engagement with a full-blown lie. It's going to blow up in your face. If it's about TV time or whatever, just hypothetically speaking, you're better off doing what Brendan did and leaving now and saying, I gotta be honest, I've come to realize this is a deal breaker, so I need to go. So, yeah, he might just want 2, though, yeah. Yeah, he might not want 5. He might not be ready for 5, like Tayshia said. That's true. But, and again, one thing to talk about, which is consistently common in this franchise, is the Bachelor bubble and the Bachelorette bubble can really get to you. And by that I mean it's this fantasy bubble that you're in, which just elevates your emotions to the nth degree. But I think, kids is a serious enough thing that he wouldn't, suddenly change that and be deluded into thinking it was different if that's not something he truly wanted just because of the Bachelor bubble. But I'm going to believe him for now. Going to believe him for now. And at the end of the day, we eventually find out the truth anyways. With all these couples, down the line, we find out whether they stay together, their struggles, or if they break up. So, do you think Tayshia got to pick which dates went to each contestant? Yes and no. I think there are dates that are tailored because Tayshia has talked with production, but I definitely think like that Neil Lane shopping date was something completely planned by production, and Tayshia would have probably been okay with it or approved it, and it going to Brendan was a very specific choice. You know, Brendan talking about being anxious about an engagement and then having to go on a Neil Lane date. Yeah. A coincidence, maybe? No. Not at all. So. But again, I do think, and, you know, it's hard to imagine that Tayshia also didn't approve of it too. And there's a possibility that Tayshia could have found some interest in knowing how Brennan would react to that date. And Asia, thank you so much again for the super chat. How would you rate this season on a scale of 1 to 10? Which season? Claire's season or Tayshia's season? I think the two would have very different scores. I am going to do a video in between Matt's season and this season and the end of the season that's going to be grading or reviewing the season. And it will have separate marks or it'll be about the difference between the two seasons and why one was much better than the other. That being said, definitely this season will get a higher grade. I think usually we haven't seen the end of the season, so I can't give it a final grade. It would be at the upper end. Both seasons. Yeah, Claire's season would get, thank you again for the super chat. Claire's season would get lower. I typically, in the past, these videos I've graded on the lead, the cast, production, and romance. And I guess, Claire's season obviously ended in an engagement, but that doesn't necessarily mean romance, right? Like, she had an intense romance with Dale, but, romance is more than just an end game outcome. It's the romance, it's the journey as well. And that with, production being a little bit shady, hard to judge the cast at that season because the cast barely was a part of that season. The cast was basically Claire and Dale and Jason or whatever. So low grades. Claire knew what she wanted, but, questionable decision making here and there. And obviously for Tayshia's season, great cast of guys. We got to see the men who were not showcased at all during Claire's season really shine through in this half of the season. Like, do you even remember who Brendan or Ivan was during Claire's season? They were completely non-existent. Blake was there, I guess, and Zach. I think Zach had like a couple of shots, here and there where he was shown and maybe said something, but completely missing from the season. Ben was cut from parts of Claire's season. So, really got to be showcased more. Tayshia as a lead, I think, it's hard. One thing, I believe that Tayshia's a real listener. We've seen this season, Tayshia, she doesn't talk as much about herself. And maybe that's one of the reasons why the men have been showcased so well, is because the men have done a lot of the talking on the dates. Tayshia's a great listener. I guess I'd rather have a good listener than someone who, over talks themselves and we don't have any kind of idea who the men are. So, going through those points, Tayshia's season would get high marks on the high end. Claire's season would get on the low end. But I'll definitely outline my full diagnosis of both seasons, but more importantly, what the difference was between the two. So that's definitely a video I'm going to do before Matt James' season comes out. I'm basically sort of thinking in the next couple of days, there's going to be the recap video tomorrow, which, by the way, tomorrow's recap I'm thinking is going to be holiday themed. All of the memes are going to be coming from holiday movies. Because whenever has there been a season of The Bachelorette or The Bachelor during Christmas? Never. Probably won't happen ever again. Probably. So, gonna be doing that. Then there's gonna be the next recap. Then there's gonna be one video reviewing the season or seasons, and I also want to see if I can fit in another Among Us with members. Before the year ends. So I'll send out a message to members before the year ends on that. See if we can do one last one before we get into 2021. I also am thinking I really want to catch up on some shows that I've been missing out too. But Merry Christmas, you filthy animal. But yeah, then at least a couple of days just for some Christmas in there too. But I already have a number of ideas for a holiday themed episode of the Bachelor recap tomorrow. And then it'll be a normal one for the finale, for the part 2 finale. So, the preview is up on YouTube. Let's see. Yes, it's up. 9 minutes ago it was up. I wonder if you can hear that. Oh, that's it. Yes, so just a quick overview. Some of the things that people were talking about. The suits. The finale suits. The person getting out. So it looks like Zach is in a different suit than the person getting out of the limo. So the person getting out of the limo would be not Zach. Zach would be the other one. So we've got Ivan in a... let me see if I can maybe pull some of this. Gracie, thank you so much for the super chat. All right, let me see if I can pull some of this up here. We might have to do it without sound just for a little bit, but let me see if I can grab this. Doing this on the fly. Hold on, folks, just for a second. Maybe we can do a live little preview breakdown really quickly here. Blank screen for you right now. Boom. Maybe this will work. Only the corner. Why is it only the corner? Yep. Only the corner. Why are you doing this? Oh, there we go. I was picking the wrong thing. Come on. This is oh, the ear. If you look at this pant right here, that's Zach's nose. And that tells you everything you need to know. I don't know why it's doing that, but here, I'm sure I can find a fix for this in a second. But definitely we can see Ivan's outfit here. This is going to be from his rose ceremony. So, gosh, this is a real mess. So, don't think that whoever's getting out of the limo there is going to be here. I'm just going to pull this up for now and then fix this on the side. Technical difficulties, people. But we can go quickly through this before we get to the end of the end of the stream. All right, I think I got something going here. All right. This will just have to do for now. I don't know why it's being weird, but all right. So, quick thoughts on this finale here. This rose ceremony, we can see Tayshia's dress. It's the same from the end of the episode where she's talking with Brendan. So she's sitting down with Ivan, chatting about Ben and this finale or whatever. Obviously, this is pretty interesting right here. They're kissing. Why would they be kissing if she dumps him right away? So there you go. Maybe she does pick Ben. Obviously, this person is going to be either Ben or Ivan, because we can see Zach coming up. There's from the rose ceremony, you can see this has totally the lighting and feeling of a rose ceremony where, the guys are all lined up in a row. And then Tayshia's on the other end with her rose for this final rose ceremony before the end of the show. There's Zach's. It looks like this is Zach's outfit for... It's possible this could be his rose ceremony for the rose ceremony that they have with Zach, Ben, and Ivan, I guess. I'd say there's a good maybe chance that it could be the finale one, too. Someone holding a ring here. Then it cuts to Ben. Absolutely could be a fake out. Just because there's someone holding something here, and then it immediately cuts to Ben doesn't mean that he's looking at the ring when he's looking down. Not necessarily. It's possible, but we have to heavily consider that there could be a fake out here. And then this will be the end of the end of the show. Tayshia upset. Some people also mentioned that she very well here could be accepting a proposal, or someone's down on their one knee as well, even though she looks like kind of sad, and they've used it in a very sad way. But I do want to address the idea that this could be this right here could be potentially from Ben also coming back alongside Ivan. That's a scenario that we have to consider. Because a number of people have said already in the comments section, why would they show that? Why would they show that if it was a spoiler? If you remember from the last preview for the week before, they did the same thing with Brendan, where they showed Tayshia and Brendan, with rings, and it was Neil Lane, and it was why are they showing that? That's a spoiler that Brendan is going to make it to the final two. Well, obviously that wasn't the case. They showed it because that's what they wanted you to think. They wanted you to think Brendan's going to be the final two pick before they pull him away. They have the breakup. So I'm just saying it's a little more sometimes interesting than that. Also, notice family photos, exactly what we talked about in the preview breakdown before, the one from last week. That this shot right here with Zach and Tayshia, final two date, and then they had their little family photos right there. In the preview before, Zach and Tayshia in this bit had a section where Zach was really upset and she was walking away. Could be total fake out. They look pretty happy here, and it's very often that they walk away from a scenario like that where they're going, oh, this is very serious. We have to, we're going to be serious. She's going to walk away. We could be engaged tomorrow for all we know. Or I could have my heart broken. So this is just the on the fly. Usually when I do a preview breakdown, I've watched the preview way more times than this. And I rule out some of the scenarios. Like, looking at this shot again, a new scenario that I'm thinking about. Two things. Could this be Tayshia sitting down with Ivan to break up with him? Could this be sitting down before the rose ceremony? What's more likely than the other? What kind of outcome are we thinking about here? So, and then so we know that Ben gets another day. Now we know that for sure. So, I just, it's impossible to think of a scenario where Ben shows up and Tayshia kisses him and then says, okay, by the way, you're going home. So, there you go. That's the major I guess, breakdown for this mini preview look for now. But again, as I said before, at the start of the stream and in the middle, I don't see there being a choice over Zach and Tayshia. So, I would think she would explain to the men why Ben is back, and maybe that's why she's sitting with Ivan. That's another scenario. So we could think that this is Tayshia sitting down, breaking up with Ivan. This could be Tayshia sitting down with Ivan and saying, "Look, I know we're at the final 2, but I need to explore if there's a possibility with Ben." And for all we know, this rose ceremony could end in nothing happening. This rose ceremony here, and there's a much clearer shot of it. Not that. There. This looks like absolutely the rose ceremony. Tayshia could totally say, I need a day. I need one more day. I need to see if Ben is going to be the one. I need to explore this possibility with Ben. So this here with Ben could potentially be just a date. It could be a separate fantasy suite date where Tayshia is figuring out if Ben, should stay. And that way we enter a finale scenario where Ben, Zach, and Ivan all are still in it. But at the end of the day, still think Zach's number 1, no matter what happens. And that's most of what preview breakdowns are just looking at the possibilities and figuring out what one is most likely and going with that. And that doesn't always mean it's the one that's going to happen, but usually it does. Usually it does. So, all right. After that little nice bonus preview breakdown, we're going to be coming to the end of the live stream, because I'm going to get up nice and early. I'm going to try to get a video out at a good early hour tomorrow. So, last chance for any questions, then Fan Takes headed to bed, getting up early, gonna recap special holiday edition of the Bachelorette recap. And then we're doing it all over again for the ending of Tayshia's journey. So, will there be a live chat tomorrow night? Yes, there will be a live chat tomorrow night as well. And then taking a break, there will be a couple, 1, maybe 2 videos in between the last recap and Matt James season. There's also potential for an additional extended preview for Matt James season. If that comes out, gonna have to talk about that. But we'll see. Definitely at least a couple of days for Christmas. I need to wrap Jackson and Bob's, my dog's, Christmas presents while they're not looking. So yes, happy holidays, everyone. Who's Tayshia's dad talking about, do you think, about getting hurt? I think it doesn't matter. I don't know. Unless there's something specific that happens on the date that we don't know about and we couldn't possibly know about. I think Tayshia's dad is just protecting her because she's been married before. So, otherwise, that's going to be it for tonight. See you all tomorrow. Keep your eyes peeled for the recap. And until then, Bachelor Fan Take out.